that. All right, we're good to go. So let's get started here. A strange hand stirs you awake and simply motions you to follow. A strange figure that you recognize to be Barudramir offers you a friendly nod and silently leads you out of the tent. The forest is eerily quiet. There is no indications of life near you that you can tell, and unsettling torches light your path to a dark red tent. The warmth of the small flames waft the cold away from your face. When you arrive, he pulls the curtain on one side and ushers you in. Inside, you see an old, decrepit woman with a gleam of insanity in her eye. She smiles at you with a small dip of her head and states, "Have a seat, dearie. We have much to discuss."
All right. So Travok would just take a seat. Like he feels like he's woken up. He's basically escorted away
Mm-hmm.
and ushered into a tent. I would imagine kind of shoved in there. So I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, basically. So we all knew kind of coming into this that this was the reason we were coming to see, or the reason why we came here, but we weren't really sure as to like how it was going to happen or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you take your seat, she has a lazy eye that kind of drifts off to the side. She just seems to start kind of speaking in a way that like a dementia patient would.
All right.
And she says, 757 years ago, give or take, the days run together in a long silhouette of the sun, dancing like a shadow in the frame of the midday sky. The Count, then only known as Strahd von Zarevich, conquered the land of Barovia in the name of his father, King Baroff. He constructed his castle in the name of his mother, Ravinia, of whom he invited the widow to come and live with him. We aren't certain what brought the fall, but it set in shortly after, as did other horrors. Horrors in number too great to discern, she says, shaking her head. As you've seen in the mansion, society does indeed crumble under the lightest misfortune. A feather fall of ill omen, and the forest catches fire with worry. Before those fall into hysteria, the most desperate tend to rise. The desperate will latch onto anything they can, even if it pulls them under, like sailors on a capsizing ship. No one is certain what the entity is that resides in that house, but it has taken the lives of many. What questions have you? And she pulls out a deck of black cards and starts kind of slapping them on the table. Gives them a loud shuffle. And then she sets them off to the side, and the lazy eye that was once wandering across the room now returns its focus on you.
Oh, so it's time for me to ask a question now?
Sure, yeah, that's what she said. What questions have you?
All right. How's about we start with Lady Anastasia?
Oh, yes, yes.
She seems to be awfully friendly, and I'm not quite sure why. All I know is it doesn't make me feel too good to be, let's say, encroaching upon the Count's territory, if you get my drift.
Oh, yes, I do. Chivalry has its ways, no? But indeed, if nothing else, the eye of an admirer is often nothing more.
Just that's it?
If you wish, I will look. She holds her hand over a crystal ball, and her eyes roll up into the back of her head. You have drawn the eye of an admirer since your arrival. Their words may seem false, but among the kind words of honesty and devotion, you may form a lifelong ally. You have received an item from her, no?
You'd know about that. Pulls out the glove.
I know a great many things. Can I see it? And with that, like the hand that's not over the crystal ball slowly extends out. Her bony fingers bent slightly at the middle knuckle. Do you hand it to her or do you keep it?
Gonna hesitantly go ahead and hand it over because it didn't seem to harm anyone else, or I trust maybe she can tell me something about it. So I'm still talking in my voice. Yeah, so I hand it over.
Okay. So she grips it in her hand, and again her eyes are still rolled into the back of her head, but you can see her kind of working her thumb and fingers around the fabric. Ah, yes. Nurture this heart, and you may reap the reward. But dare you make a mistake and spurn her, she may rip your very heart from your chest. A daunting and daring task indeed. I would worry not, though. The young girl he married quickly learned of his deceit. She dreamt of being the faithful wife to a noble man who would hold her to her high regard. She shakes her head slowly. To her he is neither. It makes sense, no? A tragedy fit for a bardic tale. She is dejected even now. I can see her, moping about the palace, her heart wearing the boundless shackles of a prisoner. It may comfort you to know that when she was a human, she did a lot for the people of Valakai. Often focus on their well-being, even of the destitute. You will find that time has jaded her and turned her cruel, though it seems that the naive young woman still exists. She only needs her fairy tale ending. Their eyes roll back down to their normal position, but it's kind of in an unsettling manner. Like they're slow to reset, and they seem uneven as they do so. They peer at you as if appraisingly down the crook of her nose. You've lived your life a lowly peasant, haven't you? I see no adornments, no tabards. Anyone who learns of her interests will quickly scoff and dismiss you, as you aren't worthy of her. Not in the sense of royalty, never the matter. Her cold and welcome glare washes over you. As for your friend, Bairn, tied and tethered to you in loyalty, can offer you soothing words in your time of distress. I'm certain he has kept you in line thus far anyhow, even if he disapproves of some of your party. As all things in life, we walk a thin line and must maintain a delicate balance. Is there more you wish to know?
So he would shake his head and say, so that be why he appears here as when I summon my echo spirit.
It is with great fortune that one may often relish a friendship so that they would continue to remain a loyal friend even in death. A most unfortunate one at that. Have you made your amends with the dead, young Travok?
I'd not be sure I know how. I carry the guilt with me everywhere I go.
There will be a time that perhaps it will present itself. But for now, your best option is to not waste the life that those you have lost have wanted theirs all the more.
So he would nod and shake his head in agreement, like, not, not waste me life.
She
I guess not waste the chance to be with Ben here while I can, eh?
she extends the glove back to you. And again, she kind of looks over you appraisingly. Do not worry of the direction that another's heart will pull you, though perhaps in time you may find her words true. Who knows? Perhaps she may care for you until you draw your final breath. Perhaps she may be the reason you draw your final breath. Time will tell. As I see most things, this remains a mystery to me as well.
Aye. She very well could go both ways, I suppose.
That would be for you to discuss with her.
So he takes the glove back and puts it away again.
Very well. Is there more you wish to know? Questions of your party? Others that you may distrust?
I do wish to know about our fallen comrade, the one known as Caspian.
Ah, yes. A true shame. Though, in a way, Caspian had died long before he ever arrived here.
So you'd be saying there'd be something off about the fella while he was with us?
No, he was quite fine in that sense, though. Perhaps there is more for you to learn. Yes?
Yes.
As I see it, there are 3 tools in which you will need to rid this land of its wretched curse. And I believe there is more for you to learn outside of the fog. But for now, my dear boy, do you wish the left or the right?
Let's go with the left.
Very well.
Soldiers, I hear soldiers always start with the left.
Oh, yes. It would seem our lens, the 5 of cups in reverse. She breaks out a small booklet, kind of flips through it for a moment. Oh, yes. It would seem fair to view the lens of any sort of future in Barovia through disappointment and sadness from loss. A true to form with the loss of a comrade, no? Oh, yes. I see.
Whoa! What do you see? Tell me, what do you see?
As is the lens, so shall be the past. You may reach out to someone you care about and share a memory of an old friend. It may bring you hope. Although you are sure to be rife with unhappy memories and the negative legacy of childhood. Perhaps the mourning of your friend bear no?
That does sound to be the situation.
Aye. And as your arrival, you will note the death of your old life, for you are no longer the cook of that fair dwarven army, are you? You find yourself here among the elves, among the Shadar-kai, and among the humans, alone with only your shadow. However, you should know that death often leads to rebirth, and perhaps your life anew shall lead you to a wonderful, wonderful end. She leans up and looks over the card for a moment and then starts to kind of flip through her book once more. You have to excuse me.
Did you
There
say something will lead me to a nice end in this place? Looking around.
Perhaps not here.
But I figured this be the place to ask, is all.
That is understandable. Though I am afraid it is your obstinance that will lead you astray. And while you may lead a rebirth, that is quite the broad stroke of a paintbrush, no? Why, you could be rebirthed a slave, perhaps a puppet, both in the literal and physical sense. This may not suit you well, young Travok. Though the glory of these cards, they are only a mere glimpse of your life. And you have every moment to see to it that they change. However, there is something more, Travok, that I sense within you. And with that, she pulls from another deck and she lays it down. She turns over a black and white card bearing the words Indomitable Heart. Above it is a picture of a coarse and porous stone heart. The unconquerable, the unrelenting, the eroding force. You will shake the foundation of injustice and bring down its pillars of corruption. For that I can promise you, and for that I am certain you have drawn the eye of more than one. And with that I wish you the best of luck, young Travok. However, perhaps as a madam who is far more devious than would ever admit, might I send you with a bit of knowledge to ensure that you crumble the foundation of corruption in these lands? Would you like that, good sir?
Yes, that does sound good.
Very well.
Get some good news out of all of this.
So now we know you. We must first learn of the tools you need. Let us see where they are. She reaches into a bag and draws out a set of dark cards with silver wisp that spring from a skull in the center. Ah, yes. These were given to me as a gift from Ravinia some several hundred years ago, when we found Strahd wounded and left for dead. A great time for kind gestures, no?
Aye.
Anyway, it will bring us some good fortune, as it will let us know where lies the powers to free those who remain tortured here. The first is known of the Tome of Strahd. Oh, as I feared. This will tell you of Strahd's past and perhaps hold some ideals on how to defeat him if you wish. The evoker, however, will give you more than a bit of problem. You will find in the ruins of Berez are now home to Baba Lysaga, an almost mythic figure tied to Strahd's past. A hermit, she spends most of her time crafting and animating scarecrows to hunt down and kill the ravens and the were-ravens that infest Strahd's domain. When she isn't working evil magic, she is often sacrificing beasts to the Mother Night, and collects their blood, and then bathes in the blood on nights of the new moon in a ritual to stave off the effects of extreme old age. She's also known to be the midwife of Queen Ravinia of Royan, and is a terrible, terrible foe. You will need to approach her with much caution. Oh, her face quirks a moment. Buried within the depths of the Amber Temple lays a blade so powerful it is said it could cut the sun from the mists. It lies in a secret room adjacent to the preserved library. If it were so simple, it seems, this is only the blade. We will have to search for the hilt, but I'm afraid it rests far beyond the mists. Oh, yes. The Wizard of the Wines, the merchant. The Wizard of the Wines was founded by a mage whose name is buried in the annals of history. The wizard fashioned 3 magic gems, each one as big as a pine cone, and planted them into the rich valley soil. These seeds, as it were, gave rise to healthy grapevines which produced sweet and plump grapes. Even after Strahd's curse settled over Barovia, the gems kept the vines and their grapes from succumbing to the darkness. Strahd bequeathed the winery and vineyard to a noble Kreskov family as a reward for the family's loyalty. Later, an arranged marriage between the Kreskovs and the Mordakov family led to the land being taken over by a Mordakov descendant. Gathering their idol may bring you some advantage when the time of plagues has come. Perhaps you could find another in Valakai. And now, as the cards would say, shall we find your deepest ally? It would seem that perhaps you have already. It seems that more than sheer circumstance has brought you and Our Lady Irina together. It would seem she would do quite a bit to see Strahd ruin from this world. And if it were to behoove you, You might seek the fate you wish if you were to lead him to the dungeon and slay him there in his castle Ravenloft. Are there more questions you wish?
Yeesh. That'd be a lot to take in, lass.
There is more, I assure you. There is one within the gates of Valakai that will take you among the mists, through them even, to a place of vast importance, though he will not reveal himself until you are prepared. It would be wise you not to ask for him by name, unless you are certain you can speak it only to those you trust. His alias, Jark the Fisher. Present him with one of our elixirs and this note, and with that she hands you the card that she pulled that had the stone heart on it.
Okay.
And with that she kind of like ushers you to take it.
So I take it.
Mm-hmm. But you will need something first. A potion brewed by the Vistani. We have two. She holds up a strange dark brew with vibrant silver shimmers. I believe you have found one within the manor, yes? Someone in your party holds it within their belongings. However, to make the remaining 3, we will need 3 rubies that will be ground by an obsidian mortar and pestle, of which you will also need to gather. 3 hair of a loop guru, and a flower from the Gohias tree at Yester Hill. You must imbibe this before traversing the fog, or I promise you, young friend, you will never see the other side.
Would Travok have the ability to be taking notes right now?
Sure.
Okay. Then I'm just going to emote that he's taking notes.
Okay.
Even though I'm not.
Yeah, and then obviously you can refer back. You can refer back as necessary.
Yeah.
Because this is all like huge party shit. It's basically like where you need to go and what you need to be doing for the rest of the campaign.
Like obviously I've already know that I'm going to need to be asking someone about a potion. So.
Again, I urge you, bring the ingredients here. Do not take them to other Vistani. There's another group just outside of Valakai that if you share too much, or perhaps bring them too much, you will run into issues, much like you did with Istoville and Orupel, 2 of whom I'm sure you remember. You should know that we have exiled them from here long ago. You can find them if you wish to confront them. They reside in a cave on the far side of Mount Baratok. It is quite a ways travel from here on the far side of Valakai. But I must warn you, I wouldn't go near them. Not until you've had more time to prepare yourselves. You will need these preparations in the face of the Loop Guru anyhow, as surely they won't fall easily. It seems there is far more than your freedom and the hilt of the sun sword beyond the fog. Your true meaning lies outside of Barovia. It is imperative that you gather these, as I say, so that we may learn how to rid Barovia of this curse that plagues every square inch. Is there more you wish to ask?
Hi, lass. I need to. You said that there's someone I should be looking for. And I shouldn't be speaking his name unless in the company of those that I trust.
Yes,
Is there
yes.
anyone in my party, is Valkithra or Elion or God, I can't remember all their names at the moment. He would just kind of go through the names and be like, any one of them I should be concerned about.
I would be a foolish woman to guide you directly to the fate that stares you in the face. However, yes, I do see that someone here will attempt to sow the seeds of discontent among the ranks. Be ever watchful, as I am sure you have learned already. Not everything is as it seems.
Who is this about again?
She didn't really,
Didn't really say.
yeah, she said I would be a fool to tell you specifically who it was, but there is someone among you that wishes to sow discontent.
Okay. I'm trying to think. Uh, um. Oi, I do have a question.
Yes, dear. What is it?
When Brudemir first brought me through the mist into these lands, I woke up in a strange place, and everything I owned was gone.
Ah,
Do you
yes.
happen to have any insights on where me things might be?
Ah, yes. I see you do not remember their names, or perhaps they never gave them. However, that was Istoville and Orupel, as I said earlier, have been exiled from here long ago. They reside in a cave on the far side of Mount Baratok. If you wish to go and confront them, you are free to do so, but I warn you, young traveler, you have much to prepare before dealing with the idle necessities of those less mature than you.
All right then.
As I am certain you must know by now, they are often in works with Bildrath, the mercantile. Yes? And by they, I mean the Vistani of which look to feed upon the misfortune of you foreigners. And as it would seem, there is far more to Istoville and the Rupel than I am sure you'd recognize. I would be ever leery of them, and I recommend that if you do approach them, you are quite certain yourself that you are prepared, for they will spare you no mercy.
I see. I'll have to be cautious then.
Yes. And I assume, based on the ravens that I see coming to and from the castle, you do not do well to hide yourself from the ever-watching eyes. I would assume The Count has recognized you are on your way. Though, if it offers you some respite, he will not watch you here.
Oi, then, how do I go about hiding myself better then?
You, dear, will have a great many trouble. There are few of your kinsmen here, and I am certain you will be easy to spot. However, misdirection is always a wonderful, wonderful strategy.
Misdirection, you say?
Aye. Though, do be careful with your application, as if you are to misdirect the wrong person, or misdirect too heavily, surely they would know. And I can tell you it will not end well. However, I am certain that you have met his general as he passed through here some few hours before you arrived, a day perhaps. I am certain that he is on his way to tell the Count, and perhaps the Countess, that you are on your way to visit them in their castle. Did he mention such to you?
I don't specifically recall that interaction.
She kind of leans over the table, puts her hands across over yours. Her skin is cold and wrinkly, and the veins in the back of her hand are incredibly pronounced. A word of advice, dear. Even if he has not invited you, go. Wear your smiles. Eat his food. Be merry. Befriend him if you must. For there are far worse things that could happen to you than to be a friend of the most powerful men in all of the realm. So go. Visit him if he has invited you. Be kind and respectful, and I am sure he will return the favor. Why, it is often that people speak mostly of how they despise him, I assure you. He is a gentleman nonetheless, and will treat you as such when you are within his walls. And with that, she just kind of pats your hand and leans back. I believe that is all for now, dear.
Wait, you sure that be all last? Anything else you see in their cards? There'd be a lot of cards there. Just maybe.
She just she chuckles a little bit to herself. I have told you all that will behoove you for now. We could spend our time staring amongst the crystal ball, drawing cards as necessary. Though I am afraid, if we dwell on them too long, they are sure to come true.
All right then. It'd be good. I've be got a lot of bad luck to look forward to already. Let it come in pieces, I hope, and not all at once.
As are most here among the fog. There is nothing more we can do than trudge forward in hopes to finally reach a clearing before we die. Why, I've been trudging for quite a long time.
So Travok would do a nervous laugh with her just to not offend her.
Go now, then, my dear dwarven friend. Get your rest, and in the morning we will provide you some breakfast before you depart. Mind you, had Baru Dramir done his diligence, we offer some mercantiles of our own. Why, there's a cook who will offer pots, pans, perhaps some fresh game for the road. There is a blacksmith of whom crafts decent enough armor and weapons. There is a jeweler. If you wish to pawn your rings, or your necklaces, or your trinkets, and I am certain there may be someone else who wishes to sell you anything they own, as is the way of the Vistani.
All right, last. Well, okay. So Travok would like clasp his hands together and like give a polite bow and say, "I thank you for your wisdom."
You are most welcome. I do hope it serves you well. And scene.
And scene.